time y'all plan on joining us this week? Because, Donna, this week is VBS week. See you then. Oh, and by the way, yeah, you thought you were coming up here, didn't you? This week, a couple of things. Today, yesterday was Glenda and David's 50th wedding anniversary, so they deserve a round of applause. I'm not sure which one deserves what applause for putting up with the other for that long. I have no idea. Amen. Now, today from 2 to 4, there is a reception and a party or a celebration for them. They have invited you guys to come on out, celebrate with them. That is this afternoon, 2 to 4, fellowship hall. Next, 3 o'clock this afternoon, the youth are headed out to Nathan and Tatum Roads for a day at the lake, or an afternoon at the lake, so pray for them as they go. And then Tuesday, the senior adults are having prayer partners, and then they're going to Stacy's for lunch, so we'd love to have you be a part of that if you'd like to come and join us. Stacy's in Denver. And then Wednesday, everything starts. And by the way, Wednesday, your Romania mission team leaves that afternoon, so pray for them as they go. Thank you for being here. Now, you're on.
Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to FBC Maiden. Will you please bow your heads and pray with me? Dear Lord, we welcome you into this room to fill our hearts and fill our minds as we hear about Pastor this week and how God has changed in our lives. In your name we pray, amen. Let's stand and greet one another this morning.
All right, as you kind of make your way down to their seats, I want to get started a little bit, and we're going to have a few just share about our week. At Castle this week, it was a great week. We laughed, we cried, and just really enjoyed being around each other this week. But the Castle theme is, as you can tell, is on this rock, and basically us learning how to be the church. Us understanding that our faith and our relationship with Jesus is the most important, and we have to stand on that faith of Christ on the solid rock so that we don't sin. So this week there were 5 dimensions to the church that we talked about. First being worship, that we needed to join together, to come together and sing praises to the Lord and to worship together. The next was discipleship, which was one of the most important aspects of being the church for us, and it really seems to speak to us the most. But understanding that we need to invest in each other. That first, that we needed to be strong in our faith, and we need to grow in our relationship with the Lord. And as we're growing, we are called to invest in other people. And we are called to help them grow in their faith as well. And so, which resonated, again, with our group, seemed to speak volumes when we went over discipleship. The next was evangelism. And that evangelism, that we needed to know how to share the gospel with people. We needed to know how to bring up the gospel in conversations. And so all of these students should know how to share the gospel with you. So parents, grandparents, if you want to sit down and talk with them after lunch today and say, hey, share the gospel with me, they should be able to do it. The next one was missions. And the important thing with missions is that God has called us to go share the gospel with people in our Jerusalem, which is here at home, in Judea, which is in surrounding communities, even in the Baptist community and East Lincoln community, we still need to go share the gospel with people. We needed to share the gospel in the United States and then to the ends of the earth, and to all of our world. And so the important part was that with missions is that it took discipleship and it took knowing how to share the gospel to be able to do that. So our kids were encouraged to go and keep serving our community, but also to serve the world and share the gospel of Jesus with them. And then the last night was fellowship. And just talking about how important it was for us as the church, because the church is not this building, the church is us as people, and how important it was for us to be together and to fellowship with one another, to encourage one another, and just spend time together, because that's what they did in life. So we had a great week. Our kids learned a lot. We had about 7 students this week just say, you know what, I haven't been living like I should. Lord God, Jesus has not been Lord over my life, and I want to change that. They recommitted their lives to Christ this week. So that's a big deal, and something that we have celebrated all week. And so these kids now are going to share with you about their experience this week and what they learned, and we hope that you gain some understanding a little bit of what camp is and how important it is for students, but also that you can be encouraged to live out your life and live out your faith for Jesus. You don't want to start? Okay.
Okay. Good morning, I'm Kayla, and I'm going to tell you what we did every day. So we woke up at like 6 to 7 o'clock, and pretty early, right? Yeah, you feel struggling. And then we had breakfast, which breakfast was pretty good. We had like pancakes and like stuff like that. And thank you all for the service. You did great food. And after that, we went to Hatch. Hatch was pretty fun. We sang a lot of songs, and we had this great preacher. His name was Mike Satterfield. He made a lot of jokes and great notes that we learned and all that good stuff. And we worshiped a lot and jumped up and down to the songs, and it was really fun. And then after that, we went back to the house that we stayed in, and we went to lunch. And we had a lot of good food at lunch. And then after that, we had free time. And then in free time, we had track times. We can go to the pool, anything like that. I went to the pool a lot because I like to swim. And track times were a lot. I did Bible journaling, which was pretty cool. And then I did battle ball in the gym, which is like dodgeball. And yeah. And then after free time, we got back and got ready, and we went back to Hatch for night worship. And in the morning worship, we went to small groups too, which is like, we learned more about what we learned in Hatch, like what the preacher told us about what we learned that day. Like we learned about discipleship, and we played activities and games, and it was really fun. And in night worship, we did a lot of fun stuff. Songs was great. We learned a lot of songs that we're going to teach y'all later. And we had a lot of fun. And Mike's side of it was really fun. And after that, we went back and we had, well, before we went to night worship, we had dinner. And dinner was good too. And so, back to the hatch. After we ate dinner and night worship, obviously. And then we went back and we had our devotions, which devotions we learned a lot, and Donovan asked us questions about what we learned. And I made a big commitment this week, and I made a lot of new friends this week, and I got closer to God.
So this week we had a speaker named Mike said, Chocolate Thunder, and he was pretty good. And I would like to thank Darren, Emily, Hannah, and Nikki, and Joanna for cooking our food. And this week I came to know like a lot of these youth members and made a lot of new friends, and which some of them like lied to me. Peggy. So this week, Peggy told Maggie to tell me that I was going to get MVP of the week. That made me believe that people had got it in the previous years. So the whole week, I believed that this was a thing, and I was going to get it. But of course, they were lying. But, of course, I got MVP. So, yeah, this week was pretty fun.
Good morning, I'm Veronica. This was my second year at Caswell. Probably, out of my 2 years, my favorite. So, I'm going to tell you a little bit about what we learned. So, Caswell is a great camp to learn the gospel and make new memories, because obviously, as you heard, we made a lot of good memories. If there's one thing I've learned, it would be that only God knows what's next for you. So as much as you try to control your future and just do whatever you can to make your future better, God only knows what's next for you. As it says in Philippians 4:6, do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation pray. Thank you.
Well, let's see if I can actually do this right. First of all, God did feel like He was there the entire time. When the music was playing, everybody was into it. It felt alive. It didn't feel like everybody was just dead. It didn't feel like a statue. And what am I messing up again? The preacher was good. He was comedic. Out of the two preachers I've had out of the 2 years, he's definitely the better one in my opinion. Come on, I'm just trying to be friendly here. Yeah.
Hey, I'm going to be talking about free time this week. So free time, it's like where like you have like maybe like 4 hours to yourself, like whatever you can do. There was like different things you could do. There was like track times. There were like some of the track times was like you could go play basketball or like dodgeball, or you could go hang out with people that you don't usually get to hang out with. And also I was going to talk about like this week during worship, I made a big commitment saying I didn't follow the Lord how I wanted to, so I decided to put my life to the Lord. I'm a postgraduate, which is hard to say now, but it's true. If you don't know me, I don't know how, because I talk a lot. So if you don't know me, you need a friend. I'm right here for you. This week, I'm going to talk about the church group devotions that we had. this is the time when we came back from worship when everybody's, like in their feelings, when we're like really feeling, the power of God, and then you come back and you're like, okay, we're going to sit down, we're going to reflect, and we're going to think about everything. So a big prominent thing that came out of those was, I think, discipleship. A lot of older kids wanted to disciple younger kids and help them through their life, help them through their problems. So to anybody in the crowd, I want to encourage you, whether you are 90 or you are 10, you find someone that is really meaningful to you and that can disciple you and really coach you in life and just help you and be there for you, other than a family member or someone you've known your whole life. Just make a new partner. I encourage everybody. And also, our preacher gave us a challenge to not complain for 40 days straight. So if you think you're up to the task, I encourage you to do that as well. He said it would make you happier. You can try it out, whatever you want to do. But I just want to say, even though I'm leading the youth group, I'm really proud of all the people that went this week. They really stepped up to do their best, and they really do want to make an impact in this community. So I hope that everybody can pray for them and support them throughout the school year, because when you get into the school year, it's so tough. You get busy, you get, everything just feels like a whirlwind. So just really pray for these students throughout this year to really make an impact in their community. Thank you.
Yeah, this week is just really good for our students. I think just understanding the importance of just being together, and that was one thing that I noticed this week, that all of our students just enjoyed spending time together and understood the need of just being around people and being encouraged by others. And so yeah, we had a great week, and we appreciate the love and support that you guys give us as always. I was telling them in the back room that there are a lot of churches where it's almost like a separation of youth and adults in the church, and we don't have that here. That we're all together, and you guys love and support us and help us through life. And so we appreciate that as always. So if you would, please stand with us and sing "Stand in Your Love." we're going to take up our offering, and Easton is going to pray for us, and after Easton prays, we invite all the children to come forward and meet with Maggie and offer for the children's service.
Jesus, we just come before you today. We thank you so much for what you've done this past week and for what you've done throughout our lives. God, I pray for this offering. I pray that as we give, that we don't give because we feel like we have to, or we give because we want to. We give because you have blessed us, and we give because you've laid upon our hearts what you want us to do. And I pray for the money that we're about to receive. I pray that you take it and you lead the hands that are going to guide the money. And I pray that you use it for the betterment of your kingdom and use it to build up the church and to grow the church together. In Jesus' name I pray, amen.
Okay, so as the kids come forward, I would just like to add on to what Josh was saying. Okay, we weren't really lying. It was worth it, okay? At one point, he looked at me and I told him, Josh, I heard you're like really going to get the youth group member of the week. And Wormy, his little brother, goes, what'd she say? And Josh turns around and goes, nothing, Wormy, I'm just a stud. Okay, so this week at camp, we talked a lot about standing on solid ground. And so when we talk about standing on solid ground, you might think we're talking about standing on like dirt, but we're really talking about making our lives about Jesus. Because when we stand on Jesus, then our lives are much more solid. So we talked about ways that we can make our lives more solid. So Aubrey's going to hand you a sheet of paper with your name on it, but I'm going to come back to that, okay? So, how do we do that? Well, you heard Maddie earlier talking about discipleship, and we talked about how we can disciple each other and we can be there for each other. And so I know for me, the older girls in the youth group were always there for me, like Addie and Easton and Peyton and Maddie. And they always made sure that if I needed somebody to talk to, that I could talk to them. Or if I needed to pray, that they would pray for me, okay? So the way that we disciple people is really we build relationships. And so how many of you have a friend sitting down here? Y'all should all have a friend sitting down here. Levi, who's your friend? Me? Okay, I'm Levi's friend. Ari, is your brother your friend? Yes. Reese and Amelia, y'all are friends, right? Yeah. See, so they are, I didn't even notice that. They are wearing the same clothes today. See, y'all are friends. Why didn't y'all raise y'all's hands? Okay, so that's how we really disciple each other, is that we build relationships and we're there for each other, okay? So at Caswell, we all got name tags, and we wore them during small group, okay? So on our name tags, it just said our name, like where our church was from. But at the end of the week, the preacher asked us to switch name tags with somebody else. And so what you were supposed to do was whoever's name was on the name tag that you got, that you switched, you were supposed to pray for them. So that's what we're going to do today, okay? Aubrey's been passing you out all a sheet of paper that has a name on it. So I want you to look around, and it doesn't have to be your best friend, it can be. But I want you to switch pieces of paper with somebody. I should switch pieces. There you go. Does everybody have a different sheet of paper? Okay? You do. That's right. Okay. So, in the Bible, in 1 Thessalonians 5:17, it's a really easy verse, okay? It says, pray continually, which means pray without ceasing. Okay? So this week, what I want you to do is whoever's name is on your name tag, at least once a day, for the whole week, you got to pray for them, okay? Can we do that? All right, let's pray. Dear God, thank you so much for this day. We thank you for all the children in our church, God, and we thank you for all the joy that they bring in our lives. We pray that as we continue throughout this service, that you speak to us and that you open our hearts to hear what you have to say to us. God, we just pray for the rest of this week, and we pray for BBS that's coming up. It's in your name we pray, amen.
I will be reading from Proverbs 22, 1 through 6. A good name is to be chosen rather than great riches, loving favor rather than silver and gold. The rich and the poor have this in common. The Lord is the maker of them all. A prudent man foresees evil and hides himself, but the simple pass on and are punished. Humility and the fear of the Lord are riches and honor and life. Thorns and snares are in the way of the perverse. He who guards his soul will be far from them. Train up a child in the way he should go, And when he is old, he will not depart.
Would you join me in prayer? Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for the opportunity to gather in your house, to listen to testimony, to celebrate with these young folks and their week. Father, I give you thanks for these folks who are sitting in these pews, because they have prayed for these students and they have celebrated with these students. Lord, I just pray that you penetrate our hearts and listen to what you have to share with us. Lord, forgive us when we have failed you. And God, as we look to your word and listen to the words you have to us this morning, may we listen with open ears and an open heart. God, thank you for your Son, Jesus Christ. In his name we pray. Amen. Book of Psalms. Psalm 90, verse 4 says, 1,000 years in your sight are like a day that has gone by, or like a watch in the night. 2 Peter 3:8 states, but do not forget this one thing, dear friends. With the Lord, a day is like 1,000 years, and 1,000 years are like a day. 86,400. Anybody? Seconds in a day. 1,440. Anybody? Minutes in a day. How do you spend your day preparing for the Lord? It's interesting that we process a lot of things in our lives, and we think about a lot of things. But how often do we truly think about the Lord? These numbers, every second counts. It's real. 86,400 seconds in a day. 604,800 seconds in a week. Here's the big one. 31,536,000 seconds in a year. 1,440 minutes in a day. 10,080 minutes in a week. 524,160 minutes in a year. So let's process for a moment. Out of that 524,160, let's say you spend 1 hour here a week. 60 minutes. Think about it. How does that process in the minutes that you are given? 2 hours a week. 4 hours a week. Let's say you're here Sunday morning, Sunday school, Sunday evening, and Wednesday evening. 4 hours a week. That would be 12,480 minutes a year you spent in God's house. Out of the 524,160, which, by the way, is 0.02%. 0.02% is how much time you give to the Lord in His house, if you were to spend 4 hours a week. Now, how are you preparing for eternity? See, in my thought process and in my thinking, what we are given here on earth is time to prepare to meet your Maker. Time to prepare to meet your Creator. Time to get to know Him before you meet Him face to face. And how do we do that? We do that in His Word. We do that in prayer. We do that in fellowship with one another. These students, it says on this rock. That's what they studied this week, is what the church truly is. What the church truly is. Are you being the church? If you spend 1 hour a week here, think about it. You probably spend more time preparing for supper on a daily basis than you do preparing to meet your Creator. Or, how about this, students? You probably spend way more time doing homework than you do preparing to meet Jesus. Now, I get it. I understand. It's one of those have-tos. We're preparing, and if you don't do it, then obviously there are repercussions. But I would also ask and challenge the thought process that if you're not preparing for God and that relationship, that there also might be repercussions. Our jobs. We spend tons of time in our jobs. We prepare for our jobs. We live our jobs. Our jobs are our jobs. And I get it. You have to provide for your family. You have to have things. You have to have food. You have to put diapers on the baby. You have to put clothes on the children. You have to. I get it. But how much time do we prepare for eternity? I just want you to think about these things today as we look at what these young folks are dealing with. I also want you to think about your extracurricular activities. Okay, you got school, I get it. You got jobs, I get it. We also have extracurricular activities. I get it. When does God get His time? When does Jesus get His time? What's more important? Now, ladies and gentlemen, God created you. He created you to love you and for you to have a relationship with Him. That's where in Genesis 1 we find out that God created man in His image. Why? Because He wanted a relationship with you. Now, many of you who may be my age or a little bit younger, we used to have phones that really, were attached to a landline. And at that point, there wasn't this walking around with this phone all the time, being able to contact everybody all the time. So if I had a young lady that I was interested in high school, I spent time with her on the phone. Go back to mom and daddy's room, get on mom and dad, because there wasn't one in my room. I had to go back to mom and daddy's room, get on the phone, kind of talk to her, sweet talk her, all that kind of stuff. Just, how was your day? What's going on? We wanted to get to know one another. And we would spend an hour or 2 hours on the phone. And then, by the way, I didn't marry a childhood sweetheart. I didn't marry a high school sweetheart. I got all this time spending to know, or all this time trying to get to know this lady that I didn't even spend earthly time with, much less eternal time. How much time are we spending with God? I truly want to challenge you this morning to think about those things. If you want to know Jesus, you got to spend time. If you got questions about Jesus, you got to spend time. If you got questions about the Word, you got to spend time in the Word. You know what? It's okay to question. It's okay to have a thought process, but spend time doing that. How is she going to learn? So when it comes time, who you gonna call? They got it. Y'all. How about let's go with Spirit Busters? The Holy Spirit. They said Ghostbusters. Who are you going to call? Ghostbusters. Well, we're going to call it Spirit Busters because we want the Spirit in our lives, the Holy Spirit. And that's where we learn. Questions for you. What are we pushing our kids towards? Is it what we want? What are we teaching our kids? Is it what we want or is it what God wants? Let me share some stats with you, and I know everybody just loves stats. These were some stats that I thought were just absolutely astonishing. According to Lifeway Research, Father's Day is the holiday with the single lowest average church attendance. Yeah, everybody's like, huh? Really? You know why? Because the church has relied on women today, and men are not willing to step up and take the lead. It's all about what the Father does. And what I'm going to share with you, and here's the interesting part. Father's Day is the single lowest average church attendance holiday, single lowest church average attendance. That includes Labor Day and Memorial Day and 4th of July. You know what the third highest attendance church service is? Mother's Day. Behind Easter and Christmas. Process this. According to the data collected by Promise Keepers and Baptist Press, listen to this. If a father does not go to church, even if his wife does, only one child in 50 will become a regular worshiper. If a father does go regularly, regardless of what the mother does, between 2/3 and 3/4 of their children will attend church as adults. If that doesn't open your eyes, ladies and gentlemen, there's an issue. Men, it's time to step up and be the leaders of the church. Women, I applaud you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for getting your kids here. And they have a chance. They have a chance. But it takes a family in church. Sunday school, and this is obviously it came out of Baptist Press, so Sunday school is big to them. When both parents attend Bible study in addition to a Sunday service like Sunday school, 72% of their children attend Sunday school when grown. That's a pretty good number. When only the father attends Sunday school, 55% of the children attend when grown. When only the mother attends Sunday school, 15% of the children attend when grown. When neither parent attends Sunday school, only 6% of the children attend when grown. Ladies and gentlemen, we're losing this group right here because we're not willing as adults to step up and spend time in church, to be the church. That's a harsh reality. These young folks here are leaving what I call a camp high. They've been all week with God, and you've been with God too. God's been here. It's just a matter of whether you recognize it or not. Okay? But these kids have been gone all week. They were encouraged to do a morning devotion. on their own. Then they were brought together as bedrooms together to discuss what went on with that. Then they left and went to worship. Then they left and went to small groups. They had free time. Then they came back and then they went to worship again that night. They had encountered God in a mighty and powerful way. And God has spoken to many of them in their lives. They come back home and they walk in the door and realize Mom and Dad are just the exact same that they were when they left. And there's no spirituality in the household. We don't read our Bibles. They don't see us pray. We don't do a lot of stuff that we should be doing. They don't see you do a quiet time. They don't see you doing anything. And by the way, grandparents, it goes for you too. And if you don't have children, guess what? You should be investing in these children. Sorry, I'm not sure. I get it. But there are children out there that you should be investing in. They're living on a camp high, but yet they walk right back into Maiden, North Carolina, or the surrounding areas, and it's like, oh man. And they can live it out for maybe a week, maybe, without encouragement. So when does the church step up and be the church? When do you as parents step up and be true parents of the living God and find out who God is in your lives? The proper thing to do would have been to give Donovan the morning service, let him preach, but I said I just can't do it because I need to talk about Camp High with children, youth, and parents. See, they need to understand that you believe that you are the church. Are you involved in their lives? And it's not just parents. It's Sunday school teachers. It's discipleship folks. It's folks that we need to come and serve on Wednesday night. We need to come and serve on Sunday night. With kids, with children, with youth. You need to invest in their lives. But no, we are so busy. We just don't have time. It's a camp high that they need to sustain. Now, there's going to be rocky roads. We understand that. You're gonna start here and then you're going to drift back down. But you know what? That's where you need each other to pick each other back up. Now, what I was going to do at one point was pick up a picture of myself on it was on a bike. I used to ride bikes, not as a kid. I did that too. But some reason I got into riding with a friend of mine who had MS, and they used to do MS rides, and you would get sponsors, and you would ride for MS and raise money for MS. So I did. I prepared for a particular event called Breakaway to the Beach, where within 2 days we rode from Monroe all the way to the beach. The first day we rode 100 miles. And I want to tell y'all about this. That's a really skinny seat you're sitting on. The second thing I want to tell you about is this. It's a really cool event. If you ever get a chance to do it, and I love riding. I'm sorry I got out of it. Life got in the way. But I love riding. You're out there. If you ride with somebody else, here's the difference. This gentleman and I that trained together, we would ride, and some days I'd ride by myself, and other days I'd ride with him. And here's what I found out. I did not believe how much of a difference that drafting makes. And what I'm talking about is this. If I'm in front, pedaling, he's behind me pedaling about 1 every 3 strokes that I'm pedaling. I didn't believe it. And then when I switched off, I'm like, oh, this is good. And then if you get in a line of folks, like when we were going from Monroe to the beach, and you got in a whole line of folks, everybody kind of switched. One person get up front for a little bit, next person gets up front for a little bit, and it makes it easier on everybody. But the thing is, you got to keep up. And there are stops along the way, and so if you didn't get back on your bike at the same time everybody else in that stop got back on, then you were out by yourself. Well, It was getting late in the day, and toward the end of the day, I'm about to die. I'll just be honest. And we're cruising into Florence. And matter of fact, I don't see him here. Francis Marion College was our first stop. That's where we spent the night. We rolled into there, and I rolled in about 5 o'clock that evening, something like that. But from somewhere in Florence all the way to Francis Marion, I rode by myself through the swamps. And you think swamps are flat? Just let me tell you, there's hills when you're on a bicycle. Any little hill, it becomes much bigger. And with that being said, I'm going through by myself, and it's a struggle. You can make it. You can make it. You can make it. That's what these kids feel like. Because they don't have the church around them. And by the way, youth group is very important. I can't give you enough encouragement as parents to get them here to youth. Because a group makes life easier. It's easier to do life with somebody. And when you do it with a group of somebody, then you can share the lead. It makes all the difference in the world. Have you ever been around Addie? You're not going to get a word in edgewise. And if you think you are, she's just going to get louder so you don't. But what happens when the day comes when she can't pick you up because she feels bad? Or she's sick and can't be there. Who's going to take the lead? You understand what I'm saying? It takes a group to pull together to be the church. When are we going to step up and be the church? Several of these young folks this week encountered Jesus in a mighty way. Many of them rededicated their life to following Jesus. And they walked into home and said, I sure wish you would. They walked into church this morning thinking, man, I sure wish y'all would rededicate your lives to Jesus. Because what I see on Sunday morning when I walk in here ain't Jesus. When do we become Christ-like Christians? Let me share one other story I read. In 1994, the Swiss carried out an extra survey that researchers followed. And it's very similar to what I shared with you earlier. If both father and mother attend regularly, 33% of the children will end up as regular churchgoers. And 41% will end up attending irregularly. Only a quarter of children will end up not practicing at all. If a father is irregular and a mother is regular, only 3% of the children will subsequently become regular themselves. While a further 59% become irregular. And they go on to share a lot of these particular statistics. And they finish up with this. In short, if a father does not go to church, no matter how faithful a mother's devotion is, only one child in 50 will become a regular worshiper. I shared that with you earlier. If a father does not go, or does go regularly, regardless of the practice of the mother, 2/3, 3/4 will become churchgoers. A non-practicing mother with a regular father will see a minimum of 2/3 of her children end up at church. Now, we get down. Yes, this is a study of Switzerland, which has many cultural differences than the United States. In Europe, women have been taking the lead in church going, and this may explain the relatively sudden secularization of that once Christian time. It was in 1994. Now, the reason I share that with you, man, if we don't start taking the lead, we're losing a whole generation. And if you've been to Europe, and I have not, but I've read and I've seen pictures, churches over there are beautiful, ornate, gorgeous churches with 10, 15, and 20 chairs. It takes a family to raise a church, to be the church. Is that what we want? 1994, we're talking almost 30 years. What's this church going to look like in almost 30 years? What are you doing to make a difference? So, unfortunately, I'm only about halfway through this sermon. Guess we'll have to pick it up at another time. What can you do as a family? I'm going to give you a couple of things that potentially you can do. What happens if you find a weekly service as a family? A weekly service, whether it be, hey, this week while we're out eating because we're not having, we're going to pay it forward. Simple. We're teaching. That's it. Pay it forward. What happens if it looks like something here at church? You as a family take, hey, you know what? The Andrews are going to take the front flower beds, and we're going to maintain them. That's ours. Oh, by the way, you're not. They're still open. But what happens if you decide to do something that you take ownership? Stop expecting other people to do it for you. You're part of this church too. Be involved. Spend 15 minutes a day. 15 minutes a day as a family. Saying, where did you see God today? It's pretty simple. 15 minutes. Where did you see God today? Second, or thirdly, do a family devotion. Find a family devotion. Now, some of you think, I don't have time to do a family devotion. Do a family devotion. Okay. Find a book that is similar to all of them, that all of you can stay on the same page and do that devotion. And if Junior can't read, you read it to her. But give it to the rest of them to read on their own. You don't have to discuss it, just do it. Maybe you will want to discuss it. Find a service, find a weekly service project, find a monthly service project. Ask, where did you see God today? And do a family devotion. That's the beginning. They will notice. They will notice. We're going to have to stop because you need to do something. We're going to sing. The last thing to come forward. If God is laying something on your heart this morning, hey, I'm here. I'm here to meet with you. If you just want to be a part of this church, I'm here to celebrate with you. We will welcome you with open arms. Also, if God is speaking to you and says, you know what, I need to make a change. I need to rededicate my life. The altar's open. I'm here to pray with you. Others will be here to pray with you. And finally, maybe you just need to say, God, take it. What's He going to say to you? Move. As we stand and sing, I just ask that you allow God to take part. Let's stand as we sing. seated for just a moment. This is Abby Parker, Abigail, Abs, whatever. This is Abby. She's been here for quite a while. She is one of my former youth at Lincoln, and she's been kind of helping out around here. She comes this morning to be a part of us, and to be a part of First Baptist Maiden. Do I hear a motion that we receive Abby?
Make a motion.
Do I hear a second? All those in favor, would you show by the uplifted right hand? All those opposed? Oh, I'm just kidding. Would you come by and welcome Abby this morning and tell her how glad you are that she has come to be a part of us? We're excited to have her be a part. Her mom and stepdad are here, and so I just welcome them here. Thank y'all for being here today. Abby was a part of them this week and truly invested in these kids. So be in prayer. Would you join me? Let's stand and be joined in prayer. Oh, we love you and we pray. God, thank you for youth. Thank you for excitement. Thank you for Abby. And God, as we dismiss to Sunday school, be with us. Continue to open our minds and our ears to hear what you have to say to us. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. And all God's people said,
Amen.